So today we're going to talk a little bit about depression. There's lots of different reasons why depression comes in. One of the things that people don't really recognize is that they think that depression means you hate yourself, and that's not what it means at all. There's multiple different levels of it. One of the major levels is that you just don't feel the energy to do things. So, for instance, you have apathy. So it's like, hey, you want to go see the movie? I just want to sit here. All right, you want to go eat? No. Like you just don't have the energy or desire to do anything. When it starts to get bad, it's not that you don't have the desire to go play the sports or go socialize with people. It's just you just don't want to do anything. And sitting there doing nothing is something. And so you don't want to do that either. And so it's just you're always in this cycle of whatever's going on, you don't want to do it, and you feel like your body's just not wanting to do what it wants, what you're asking it to do, what it needs to do. So there's a couple of different things that we start when we look at that. We always start with pulling testosterone levels. Testosterone is one of the number one reasons people have low testosterone. It's the number one reason people have depression. Getting that up re-energizes the body, puts all the chemicals back in, the body can start doing what it needs to do. We see massive changes. One of the first thing, and oftentimes the only thing I have to do, when we get teenagers in here, teenage males in 17 to 25, who have depression, they've been on this drug and that drug and these 6 drugs and this and that. And we'll pull their testosterone and it's 150 or 200. We'll get them back up, and a month later they're like, man, I feel so much better. Yeah, because testosterone is hypercritical to function. We've been using testosterone for depression since 1935 with phenomenal results. So first thing you do, you got to get that checked. Next thing is that, again, we're working the brain. Anytime we work with the brain, we think, okay, what does the brain need? Oxygen. So we're going to do sleep studies. We've had lots and lots of people who have depression for years. We do a sleep study on them, and they've gotten bad apnea. All right, so we got to fix that issue. So sleep studies. The other thing we got to do is we got to really fix the gut. So the vast majority of the serotonin your body has to work your brain comes from your gut. There's all sorts of research out showing that people who've been on antibiotics multiple times that bleaches the gut, increases yeast overgrowth, decreases probiotic function, and decreases serotonin levels, and then they have depression. So we've got to reset the gut. Typically, when we do that, we've got to do the whole thing. We've got to kill the parasites, kill the yeast, restore the probiotics, clean the liver, clean the kidneys, get that all reset. For a lot of people, that takes anywhere from 4 to 10 weeks. So it's not a giant journey. And a lot of times we can do all of these things in 10 to 12 weeks. So that really helps out. Now, methylated B vitamins are a big player. There's a lot of people who have the MTHFR gene deletion. The estimate is between 20 and 40% of the population. And if you can't fully methylate your B vitamins, you can't use the B vitamins that you take or you make. So we have to supplement and give you the B vitamins in the usable form that your body can use. So we have to use a fully methylated B. The Superior B on the website is a fully methylated B. So it's fantastic. Again, one of the things we specifically look at for brain is going to be B12 and folic acid, or the L-methyl tetrahydrofolate, the actual methylated version. So those two are going to be big players. Magnesium theanine is one of the things we like to throw in there, just to kind of get everything reset. And then the brain complex, which is the omega-3s, DHA, EPA. That's how we feed the brain. And we've seen lots and lots of these issues get not only a little bit better, but lots better, or really kind of over the top, and now they're fine. You restore the chemistry the body requires, and the body works the way it's supposed to. That's how this works. I know a lot of people who are taking, SSRIs and all sorts of, depression drugs. They're not getting a lot better, and they just don't understand. It's because your body's not been put back together right. Again, a lot of the goal of Western medicine is to keep you sick, but to secure the symptoms with their drugs. So you have to take the drugs every single day. The goal is to make you a daily user, so that they have that continual flow of income to them. Which, if you want to do it that way, cool. Now, we've known that SSRIs have been not very effective for a long time. We've also known that one of the greatest cures for depression are psychedelics. Psilocybin is a fantastic adjunct. The microdosing is fantastic. We've seen phenomenal results with that. Typically, we will use that on top of the testosterone, the gut cleaning, the whole deal. but we've seen phenomenal results for that. Now, the ketamine, we've seen some, with the oral stuff, we've seen some really good help with some microdosing of ketamine as well. But the way that I like to do the ketamine and the way we like to do the psilocybin is there's a daily function, and that's fantastic. But the other thing I like to do is we like to make sure that we dig down deep and we knock everything out. So psychedelics, so psyche and delic with delios, or light, so bringing the soul to light. So one of the things that you do, and now when you do these, there's a difference between, oh, I did that in college for fun, and we're actually doing something therapeutic. So we have to set the mind in the right spot. When you're dealing with the mind, you've got to get the mind ready for it. You have to understand that it's accepting, and it's welcoming of the change, that you're prepared for it, that you understand, hey, you might see these things, and when you see these things, you need to lean into them. So, if you have a vision of a scary bear, go talk to the bear. Bear can't hurt you. Go talk to the bear, because that's the way your subconscious has manifested this problem. And then when you talk to the bear, how you go through that, and then afterwards, how you decompress and how you deal with those, with that emotion. Psychedelics are probably one of the most powerful, life-changing things for the benefit, in a positive way, that I have encountered anywhere in the mental space. It's funny because we've taken some people through the process we go through, and they come out and they're like, oh, I feel better. Like the stress is really better, and the depression's lots better. And, the PTSD is gone. And I just feel like this constant, like crazy buzz that was inside of me is calmed down. And I finally found peace. And these are things that we hear all the time. What we also see is when we take someone, especially these entrepreneurs, and when we do the mind work properly, and we put them through the psychedelic work, what we end up seeing is that it hardens and focuses their attention on their given tasks. So one of the things we hear all the time, and I've noticed this myself, is the things that don't really matter even less. The things that really do matter, regardless of what the emphasis we put on them beforehand, we have a lot more focus and attention and drive on it. It's funny, I've talked to a bunch of my business networking guys that we've worked on, and we've worked on them not for elevation of their status or business or whatever, but to remove problems, remove fear, remove anger, remove PTSD, depression, things like that. And what we've oftentimes found is that a couple months later, they've focused in, and they've really committed, and they've really dialed in the things that are important to them. I've spoken to guys beforehand, men and women, I use the guys term totally, and they'll kind of have an idea of where life is going and what they're doing and that type of thing, and they've got an idea of direction. You talk to them a couple months after you've gone through some of these processes, and they're just laser focused. A lot of the changes that I've seen in the past with myself in 6-8 months has come directly after I've done mine. My work with DMT and MDMA and ketamine and that type of stuff. I could feel and I could notice that the periphery stuff, worry about what people are going to think and say, didn't matter anymore. It was one of those things where, like, I don't even remember it ever affecting me. Like, it was just like, oh, I don't care. This is the path I have to walk, and I'm going to put everything I have into this path, and I'm going to do it. So it is a really, really powerful galvanizing agent to push you in the direction, or allow you. It's not going to push you. It removes the barriers and allows you to just really, really lean into something. So it's been fantastic. It's not one of those things that I would ever recommend that you just, oh, I'm going to go grab some and do it today. There's a lot of work that needs to go into explaining what's going on. Carl Jung did a lot of work between the three levels. So the conscious, which is, everything's here, everything's good. The subconscious, which is what's going on inside your head you're not aware of. And the universal subconscious, which is the idea that we are all interconnected at some specific level. And that if we can reach down into that level, we can start accessing the universal consciousness, and it really kind of helps drive us and make us who we are. Which people who've done DMT or ayahuasca will tell you that it is a life-altering, life-focusing therapeutic treatment. It is, I can't, there's nothing I can use to describe what it's like. And it's funny because like the day that I did mine, went home, took a shower, came back to the office, rest of the day, everything was great. And then over the next couple of days, things just started kind of falling into place. So, if you've got depression, if you have someone if you know someone who has depression, these are one of those things that it is a chemical imbalance. It is one of those things that we can do a lot of good for. Changing diet helps tremendously. Getting the toxins out works really, really well. I've had people who have had borderline depression for a long time, and they moved to carnivore to get the toxins out, and all of a sudden they feel fantastic. I think there's the carnivore diet, the keto diets, the cleaner diets. I've seen this with paleo. These people get really a lot better really quickly. So, having somebody walk you through that is important, because the mindset piece of this is obviously giant for depression. But getting the chemicals back together, getting your life kind of put back together is really, really important. If you guys are suffering with this, don't just try to take a pill and think that's going to fix it, because it's not. But that's kind of where we're going. This is one of the reasons that we started the charity treeoflife.health, was for first responders and veterans to start knocking out the depression, the addictions, and the PTSD, because it is, if you can start calming some of that stuff in the mind down, everything in the universe gets better. So that's why we're doing that. If you guys have any questions, send us an email, questions@chalmerswellness.com, if you want to be a little bit more private, or drop them in the comments. Let's kind of talk about this. If you guys, the easiest way to do this is to air it out. It's one of those things where, if you have an issue, talk to somebody about it, because I guarantee you that if today's not the first day you've had that issue. Because a lot of times I talk to people like, it's been bothering me for years. Well, if it's been bothering you for 4 or 5 days or a month and you haven't figured out the answers to it, it's time to start talking to somebody else, looking for other options. Psychotherapy, like sitting and talking to somebody, is fantastic. I highly recommend it. But for a lot of people, the chemical piece needs to be addressed first and foremost. So, that's going to be just getting the body's chemistry back where it needs to be, getting the bad stuff, the bad chemicals out, the good chemicals in, and putting yourself back where you need to be to heal. So there's a lot you can do naturally, that is far superior to a lot of the drugs people are using. But so take a look at this. Share this video with anybody who has anxiety, depression, anything like that, who has kids or loved ones who are struggling with this. And the thing is that for those of you who are struggling with it and you're looking around and everybody's like, man, how come I'm the only one dealing with this? Everybody else seems fine. Everybody's messed up. Everybody's messed up to a degree. I'll tell you, the people who need to do the PTSD work who are over 30 is about 90-something% of the population of the earth. So you're not alone. If you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling, roughed up, if you're feeling like, everything's going 1,000 miles an hour and you don't have the control over any of it, you're in the biggest boat. There's like 1 or 2% of people who are totally cool. They're like, oh no, everything's great. We all act like everything's great. We're ducks on the pond, right? Everything's smooth and pristine up top, and underneath it's just going crazy. That whole thing. Yeah, that's where everybody else is. So don't think it's just you. Don't think you're being silly. Don't think you're being crazy. Reach out and talk to somebody and be like, hey man, look, I hear this all the time. Like, hey, I'm not depressed. I don't have mental stuff, but I could do better. Fantastic. If that's where you're at, you're awesome. If you think you could do better mentally, then it's time to start doing some stuff about it, because it will only go downhill from there. So reach out, talk to somebody, send me a DM, do something, reach out, do something with somebody, because this stuff doesn't get better on its own. So reach out, and we'll kind of get some stuff going, throw out the DMs. Maybe if somebody else sees your struggle, they'll be like, I have that same issue, and they'll be able to kind of get together, and we'll be able to knock this out together. So went way long today. Sorry. Thanks for your time. If you guys have any other questions, like I said, questions@chalmerswellness.com. We're going to do some of that tomorrow. It'll be fun. But 100% don't sit and think that this is a you thing. Figure out how find somebody to help you out with this. So thanks for your time. I'll talk to you guys later.